Clasping my hands tightly, I perched on the wing-back chair in the lobby of Mr. Callahan's offices. On the wall opposite me was a gloomy oil painting depicting someone's high-collared, disapproving great-grandfather. I'd been pinned by his withering glare for exactly 10 minutes. "He'll be ready to see you soon, Ms. Fields," the receptionist at the mahogany desk said, taking a break from her typing to glance at me over the top of her spectacles. "You are a little early." "Thank you," I squeaked. "I didn't want to be late." "Is this a performance review?" she asked, picking up the nervousness in my tone. "Yes, that's what the meeting request said," I admitted, patting down my straw-coloured hair, which I'd pulled back into the tightest possible ponytail, but which was already starting to frizz. "I've been here 8 months, and I'm hoping I might move into a senior PR account manager position. I'm currently a junior." Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. "That would be quicker than usual," she said, giving me a longer stare. "Normally, promotions only happen after a year on the PR side." My stomach clenched even tighter in expectation. Perhaps all my hard work and the hours of overtime I'd put in at this glamorous firm with its blue-chip clients was paying off. Imagine if, at the age of just 27, I became the employee who was promoted the fastest. What an accolade that would be. Maybe my mother would finally be proud of me and would stop making critical comments every time we spoke on the phone, while simultaneously trying to lure me back into the fold. I'd caused fireworks when I'd resigned from my mother's business, Fields Tax Consultancy in Jersey City, a couple of years ago. There, I'd worked as a junior assistant under my older sister, who worked under my eldest sister, who worked under my mother. Opportunities nil. As the youngest of 3 daughters, I'd been born into the most junior role. My older sister, Tracy, would always be my glass ceiling. Plus, although I was good at organising and had an eye for detail, the family ability for math had passed me by. Deciding that I needed to forge my own way in life, I'd handed in my notice to Mum's wrath. "You're family," she had complained. "You're not allowed to quit your job." Sticking to my guns, I'd gone adventuring, spending all my savings roaming the world. I'd backpacked around Australia and the Far East for a year and had an amazing summer working for a non-profit in Kenya. And then I travelled to London, where I'd been able to use the British ancestry on my dad's side to get a working visa. I'd found a proper job with solid prospects. It had been a proud day for me when I was hired at Callahan PR, one of Mr. Callahan's numerous businesses, which also included property development and antique sales. Interrupting my thoughts, Mr. Callahan's plummy voice rang out from down the corridor. "Is Miss Fields there yet? We're waiting." "You can go," the receptionist urged, waving her hands at me impatiently, as if I'd managed to end up being late after all. My stomach churned as I leaped to my feet. Curling up my toes because the new court shoes I'd panic bought for this occasion were a size too large, I hurried down the thickly carpeted corridor, tugging at the hem of the green jacket that matched my eyes. Good morning," Mr. Callahan boomed from inside the main office, rocking back on his director's chair with his hands folded in front of him like a king surveying his domain. He had a square, chunky face that was bright pink in colour, framed with short brown hair. I always thought it resembled a pork pie, one of those traditional English ones with a solid, meaty centre. I felt bad whenever that comparison crept into my mind. One shouldn't compare one's boss to a pork pie. Really, it was disrespectful. "Good morning, Mr. Callahan," I said, stepping carefully around the Heppel-white love seat positioned near the door. The office was filled with antiques, which Mr. Callahan himself had introduced to me when I'd signed my contract of employment. Of course, I'd had no idea about the styles and materials used in priceless period furniture, but I'd been flattered that Mr. Callahan clearly thought I did, and I'd oohed and ahed in an admiring way, saying things like, "What elegant legs,"